Reporter Hannah Kim walked through the shining corridors of Stellar Corp Tower, her heels clicking against the polished marble floor. The building stretched high into Seoul's cloudy sky, its glass walls reflecting the busy city below. She had interviewed dozens of rich businessmen before, and they all said the same boring things about profits and growth. Today felt different though. Park Jun had personally requested this meeting. Not his usual army of assistants and lawyers. That was strange for someone who owned half the space mining companies in Asia. The elevator shot up 60 floors in seconds, making her ears pop. When the doors opened, she stepped into an office that looked more like a command center than a boardroom. Multiple screens showed satellite feeds, star maps, and what looked like construction sites on the moon. Strange. Double quotes Ms. Kim. Thank you for coming. Park Jun stood up from behind a desk made of actual meteorite rock. He was younger than she expected, maybe 40, with tired eyes that seemed to carry heavy secrets. His expensive suit couldn't hide the fact that he looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Mr. Park, I have to say, your office is quite impressive. Hannah pulled out a recording device and notebook. Shall we start with your latest mining operations? June laughed. But it wasn't a happy sound. Mining operations? Yes, let's talk about those. He walked to the massive window overlooking the city. Tell me, Ms. Kim, what do you know about the Kepler Deep Space Ray, your satellite network? It monitors asteroid movements for mining purposes, right? That's what we tell everyone. June turned back to face her, his expression deadly serious. 3 months ago, those satellites detected something else, something that changed everything. He pressed a button on his desk, and the office lights dimmed. The wall behind him lit up with a holographic display showing the outer solar system. Tiny dots moved slowly between the planets, but there were other shapes too, massive, angular objects that definitely weren't asteroids. What am I looking at? Han leaned forward, her reporter instincts tingling. The end of the world as we know it. June zoomed in on one of the objects. It was enormous, easily the size of a city, with a dark hole covered in strange markings. Weapon ports dotted its surface like angry eyes. We call them the Dominion Fleet. They've been traveling toward Earth for over 2 years. Hannah's mouth went dry. This is a joke, right? Some kind of viral marketing campaign. June pulled out a tablet and swiped through dozens of classified files, images of alien spacecraft, intercepted communications in unknown languages, and worst of all, surveillance footage of destroyed planets. Entire worlds reduced to burning rubble, their cities melted into glass. Does this look like marketing to you? He slid the tablet across his desk. Every government on Earth knows they're coming. They've been preparing in secret for months, but they're not moving fast enough. The images made Hannah's hands shake. She had covered wars, natural disasters, and human tragedies. But this was different. This was the possible extinction of her entire species. Why are you showing me this? Why not go to the major networks? Because the major networks are controlled by people who want to avoid panic. They think they can handle this quietly. Maybe negotiate with the aliens when they arrive. June's voice grew hard. But I've seen what the Dominion does to planets that try to surrender. They don't negotiate. They conquer. He walked to another screen showing construction footage from the moon. Massive factories worked round the clock, building sleek spacecraft that looked nothing like the clunky shuttles NASA usually made. These ships were fast, deadly, and beautiful in a terrifying way. So you're building weapons. Hannah tried to keep her voice steady. I'm building hope. June sat down across from her. Every major corporation, every government with space capability. We are all working together now. The biggest military project in human history. And nobody on Earth knows about it. How many ships? Not enough. We need more time, more resources, more people who understand what's at stake. He leaned forward, his eyes intense. That's where you come in, Ms. Kim. You have a reputation for getting people to listen, for making them care about important stories. Hal looked at the alien warships on the screen. Then at the human ships being built in secret. You want me to break the story. Tell everyone that aliens are coming to destroy us. I want you to tell them that humanity isn't going down without a fight. That we're not just victims waiting to be conquered. We're survivors, builders, fighters. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We'll survive this too. The weight of the decision pressed down on her shoulders. This wasn't just a news story anymore. This was about whether humanity would face its greatest challenge united or divided, prepared or surprised. The real question isn't whether I can make you happy, Miss Kim. June stood up and walked back to the window, looking out at the millions of people going about their normal lives, unaware of the danger approaching. The question is whether together we can give humanity a chance to stay happy, to stay alive. Hannah stared at the evidence spread before her, knowing that her next words would change everything. The shuttle ride to Lunar Base took 3 hours. But Hannah felt like she was traveling to another world entirely, through the small window. She watched Earth shrink behind them until it looked like a blue marble floating in the endless black of space. Park June sat across from her, quietly reviewing technical reports on his tablet. First time off planet, he asked, noticing her staring out the window. Yeah, I never thought I'd leave Earth for a story. She pressed her face closer to the glass. It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Wait until you see what we've built up here. The moon's surface looked dead and empty from space. Just grey dust and ancient craters. But as their shuttle approached the hidden coordinates June had given the pilot, Hannah saw something impossible. What looked like natural rock formations were actually camouflaged entry points. Massive doors opened in the side of a crater, revealing a bustling underground city. Welcome to humanity's biggest secret, June said as they descended into the hidden base. The moment Hannah stepped off the shuttle, she was hit by a wall of sound and activity. Thousands of workers moved like busy ants through corridors carved from solid rock. The air hummed with energy from massive machines, and the smell of hot metal and ozone filled her nostrils. This wasn't just a base. This was a complete manufacturing world. How long has this been here? She asked, following June through the main corridor. We started digging 18 months ago, once we knew the aliens were coming. Every major government and corporation contributed. Chinese mining equipment, American manufacturing robots, European fusion reactors, Japanese precision tools, everyone working together for the first time in human history. They passed through a security checkpoint where guards in advanced armor nodded respectfully to June. Beyond that, the corridor opened into the largest industrial space Hannah had ever seen. The cavern stretched for kilometers in every direction, its ceiling lost in darkness above. And everywhere she looked, spaceships were being born. Incredible, she whispered, pulling out her camera to record everything. Assembly lines sneaked through the cavern like mechanical rivers. Robot arms welded hull plates, while human technicians guided the work with expert hands. Sparks flew like tiny fireworks as massive engines were fitted into sleek fighter craft. Each ship looked different from the others, as if the builders were constantly improving their designs. Ms. Kim, meet Chief Engineer Lee Soo, June said, introducing her to a woman in coveralls whose hands were permanently stained with machine oil. She's the genius behind our rapid production system. Lee Soo wiped her hands on a rag and grinned. Genius? No, just stubborn. We don't have time to build things the normal way. So we had to get creative. What do you mean? Hannah held up her recorder. Traditional spacecraft take years to design and build. Every bolt has to be perfect. Every system tested 100 times. But we don't have yours. Sue led them to a workstation where holographic blueprints floated in the air. So we build modular. Standard parts that fit together in different ways. Need more firepower, add weapon pods. Need more speed, swap in bigger engines. Need more armor, stack on defensive plates. A group of workers pushed a completed fighter past them on a hovercart. The ship was beautiful in a deadly way. Its hull, painted deep blue with silver lightning bolts. Weapon ports gleamed like hungry mouths along its wings. How fast can you build them? Hannah asked. One complete fighter every 2 hours. Larger ships take longer. But we're getting faster every day. The workers barely sleep. They know what's at stake, as if to prove her point. Welding sparks erupted from a nearby assembly station. The worker there was focused completely on his task, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool air. His name tag read Kim Tai, and he looked like he'd been working for a day straight. Kim Tai. Sue called out, "Show our visitor what you're working on." The young welder looked up and smiled tiredly. New plasma cannon design. 30% more power than the old ones, and they recharge twice as fast. He gestured to the sleek weapon being installed on a medium fighter. My brother's a pilot. I want to make sure he comes home. That's when Hannah understood what she was really seeing. This wasn't just about building machines. Every person here was fighting for their family, their friends, their entire world. The ships were just tools. The real weapon was human determination. They moved deeper into the base, past production lines building everything from tiny scout drones to massive carrier ships. In one section, she saw workers assembling strange robots with multiple arms and glowing sensors. Combat mechs, June explained. For boarding actions, if we have to fight the aliens ship to ship. These will give our soldiers an advantage, have you tested them against alien technology? We've run simulations based on intelligence from other worlds the Dominion attacked. Our mechs are faster and more adaptable than their standard combat units. Aliens tend to build things that work perfectly. In specific situations, humans build things that work good enough in any situation. In another section, massive fusion reactors were being assembled. Their cores glowed like tiny suns, providing power for the entire base. Engineers in radiation suits carefully adjusted magnetic containment fields while monitoring dozens of safety systems. Each reactor can power a small city, Sue explained. We're installing them in our largest ships. Can't fight a space war without serious energy sources. The tour continued for hours. Hannah saw weapons that fired concentrated starlight, engines that could bend space itself, and armor made from materials she couldn't even pronounce. But more impressive than the technology were the people building it. A grandmother from India programmed targeting computers while her granddaughter welded hull plates nearby. Former rivals from different countries worked side by side, sharing techniques and tools. Everyone from brilliant scientists to simple laborers contributed whatever skills they had. This is what humans do best, June said as they watched a mixed crew of Japanese, Brazilian, and Nigerian technicians solve a complex engineering problem together. We adapt, we improvise, we find ways to make impossible things work. As night fell on Earth far below, the work never stopped. The base operated round the clock, fueled by coffee, determination, and the knowledge that every completed ship meant better odds for humanity's survival. Standing on an observation deck overlooking the main production floor, Hannah finally understood what June had been trying to tell her. This wasn't about his money or corporate power. This was about giving humanity hope. Every spark from a welder's torch, every completed ship, Every person working past exhaustion was a statement. We will not go quietly into the dark. The alarm blasted through Lunar Base at 4:17 a.m. Earth time. Hannah jolted awake in her small quarters as red emergency lights paved everything in crimson through the base's communication system. She heard Chief Engineer Lee Sue's voice crackling with urgency. All personnel to battle stations. This is not a drill. Dominion fleet detected at Jupiter's orbit. They're 6 months early. Hannah grabbed her equipment and ran through corridors filled with rushing workers. Everyone moved. With practiced efficiency, despite the chaos, this moment had been planned for. Even if it came sooner than expected, she found Park Jun in the command center. Already dressed in a military-style uniform she'd never seen him wear before. His usual businessman appearance was gone, replaced by the bearing of someone who'd been preparing for a war. "They're coming fast," he said without looking away from the tactical displays. "Faster than our simulations predicted. We have maybe 18 hours before they reach Earth." "Orbit, how many ships do we have ready?" Hannah asked, setting up her broadcast equipment. 237 combat vessels. Not nearly enough, but it'll have to do. June turned to address the entire command center. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Park. Launch sequence begins in 30 minutes. Every ship that can fly gets into space now." The title surprised Hannah. Admiral. Military commission came through last month. Turns out building the fleet also meant learning how to command it. He moved to a communication station. "Captain Kim, how's the Starfire looking?" On the main screen, Captain Kim Hai appeared from the bridge of what looked like a massive battleship. Her ship's bridge buzzed with activity as crew members prepared for launch. "All systems green, Admiral. The new plasma cannons are charging, and our fighter squadrons are ready for deployment." "Good. You'll lead the first wave. Hit them at maximum range and test their defenses through the base's observation windows." Hannah watched an incredible sight. The hidden launch bays opened like mechanical flowers, and humanity's secret fleet emerged into space. Ships of every size rose from the lunar surface, their engines leaving trails of blue fire against the star field. "Ms. Kim," June said, "I'm transferring you to my flagship. If we're going to die today, the galaxy should know how humans face their end." The ride to the flagship took only minutes, but in that time, Hannah saw the full scope of humanity's desperate gamble. Hundreds of ships formed into battle groups, each one different from the others. There were sleek fighters that moved like silver bullets, massive carriers that looked like flying cities, and strange experimental craft that defied easy description. June's flagship, the Soul's Pride, was a masterpiece of human engineering. Its bridge offered a perfect view of space through reinforced transparent aluminum, and every station hummed with advanced technology. But what struck Hannah most was the crew. They were young, mostly in their 20s and 30s, but their eyes held the determination of people fighting for everything they loved. "Live broadcast begins in 5 minutes," she announced, setting up her camera to capture both the battle and June's leadership. "Enemy contact in 3 minutes," reported Navigation Officer Parkman. "Holy Admiral, you need to see this." The main screen filled with an image that made everyone on the bridge fall silent. The Dominion fleet was massive beyond comprehension. Hundreds of dark ships moved in perfect formation, each one the size of a skyscraper. Their hulls were black as space itself, covered in geometric patterns that hurt to look at. Weapon ports glowed with ominous red light. "Beginning broadcast now," Hannah said, activating her equipment. "This is Hannah Kim reporting live from the human fleet flagship. In the next few minutes, humanity will face its greatest challenge. All ships engage at maximum range." June commanded. "Show them what?" human creativity looks like. What happened next was unlike any space battle ever imagined in movies or books. Instead of flying in neat formations like the alien ships, the human fleet scattered in all directions. Fighters spiraled and danced through space, making it impossible for the aliens to predict their movements. Larger ships fired from unexpected angles, then disappeared behind asteroids before the enemy could return fire. Fighter Squadron 7 used the debris field for cover. Captain Kim Hai ordered from the starfire. Her ship had taken a hit, but kept fighting, its armor scarred but unbroken. The human pilots flew like they were born in space. They used gravity, wells to slingshot round planets, hid in asteroid shadows, and performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. Meanwhile, the alien ships moved in predictable patterns, trying to bring their superior firepower to bear on targets that refused to stay still. "They're getting frustrated," June observed, watching the enemy formation begin to break apart as individual alien ships chased human fighters in different directions. Their tactics are based on overwhelming organized opponents. They don't know how to handle organized chaos. A squadron of human fighters led by Pilot Legion suddenly burst from behind a small moon, catching a massive alien cruiser by surprise. Their coordinated attack targeted specific points on the enemy hull, causing a chain reaction that split the ship in half. "First blood to humanity," Hannah reported, her voice carrying across the solar system through quantum communication rays. "The human fighter squadron has destroyed an enemy capital ship using hit-and-run tactics, but the aliens adapted quickly. Their weapons began firing in wide patterns, trying to catch the elusive human ships. Several fighters were caught in the deadly energy beams and destroyed instantly, their pilots dying as heroes but still dying. We're losing ships," reported the tactical officer. "Enemy is changing strategy. Then we change ours too," June replied. "All carriers, deploy the mechs. Time for close combat." Giant launch tubes opened on the human carrier ships, releasing waves of combat robots. But these weren't the clunky mechs from old science fiction. They were sleek, fast machines piloted by humans who treated them like extensions of their own bodies. The mechs swarmed toward the alien ships like angry metal wasps. "This is incredible," Hannah broadcast as she watched the mechs breach alien hulls and begin fighting inside the enemy ships. Human pilots are actually boarding alien vessels and engaging in hand-to-hand combat with their mechanical suits. The battle raged for hours. Both sides took heavy losses. But slowly, something unexpected began to happen. Human ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Damaged fighters limped back to carriers for rapid repairs, then returned to battle. Crews worked miracles, keeping damaged systems running with spare parts and determination. "That's the difference," June said, watching a human destroyer with half its hull missing still firing at enemy targets. "They build ships that work perfectly until they don't. We build ships that keep working even when they're falling apart," as Earth rose over the lunar horizon, its blue surface reflecting the light of battle. Hannah's broadcast was being received by civilizations across the galaxy. Species that had suffered under Dominion rule watched humans fight with a ferocity and creativity they had never seen before. "This is for everyone out there who thinks freedom is worth fighting for," Hannah said into her camera as explosions lit up space round them. "Humanity doesn't know how to surrender. We only know how to adapt, overcome, and keep fighting until the last star goes dark." The battle was far from over. But already, something had changed in the galaxy. Hope, that most human of emotions, was spreading to worlds that had forgotten what it meant to resist. The first secret message arrived 3 days after the battle at Jupiter. It came through an encrypted channel that Hannah's broadcast had somehow reached, transmitted from a distant star system where the Dominion had ruled for over 2 centuries. "This is Zeth of the Andorian Resistance." The alien voice crackled through the speakers in June's private office aboard the Soul's Pride. The translation software struggled with the complex alien language. But the emotion came through clearly. "We saw your humans fight. We remember what hope feels like." Hannah sat forward, her recording equipment capturing every word. "They're contacting us. Species we've never even met are reaching out." "It's spreading faster than we imagined," June replied, pulling up a galactic map on his holographic display. Red dots marked Dominion-controlled systems, but now green signals were appearing as well. Communications from 17 different worlds in the past 72 hours. The map told an incredible story. For hundreds of years, the Dominion had conquered world after world using the same strategy. They would arrive with overwhelming force, destroy any military resistance, and then demand absolute surrender. Most civilizations gave up rather than face extinction. But now, something was different. The Keltorians sent us technical specifications, reported Communications Officer Limin, a young woman who had been working round the clock to manage the flood of incoming messages. They've been hiding advanced shield technology for decades, waiting for someone to give them hope. The Vorthan refugees on the Outer Rim want to share their knowledge of Dominion weak points, added intelligence specialist Park Dong. They've been studying their oppressors for generations, cataloging every flaw in their ships and tactics. June stood up and walked to the massive window overlooking the human fleet. After the battle, they had lost 37 ships and over 800 crew members, but reinforcements kept arriving from Earth. More importantly, alien allies were beginning to send aid. "We need to organize this," he said. "A proper network that can coordinate resistance across multiple star systems, already working on it." Hannah replied, showing him a tablet. "My old journalism contacts are helping. Remember, reporters have sources everywhere, including places governments can't reach. Over the next week, an underground network grew that spanned half the galaxy. Hannah's former colleague, Kim So-young, used her connections with refugee communities to establish secure communication links. Park Jun liquidated his remaining business holdings to fund quantum communication relays that could transmit messages instantly across vast distances. "Sir, we're getting reports from the Tau Ceti system," Li Min announced during one of their daily briefings. "A group of Dominion ships was destroyed by local rebels using tactics they learned from watching our Jupiter battle." "How many ships?" June asked. 12 enemy vessels, including a command carrier. The rebels used asteroid mining equipment converted into weapons, just like we did with our industrial base. Hannah smiled as she filed the report. "They're learning from us, taking human ingenuity and adapting it to their own situations. But the most important breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yunsei, a xenobiologist who had been analyzing captured Dominion technology, made a discovery that changed everything. The Dominion aren't just conquering worlds," she explained during a secure video conference from her lab on Mars. "They're harvesting them. Every species they defeat becomes part of their collective consciousness. But not as equals. They're absorbed, their individuality destroyed." "What does that mean for us?" Hannah asked. "It means they literally cannot understand concepts like sacrifice, loyalty, or fighting for others. Those emotions are edited out of their collective mind. They see our willingness to die for each other as a malfunction, not a strength." This intelligence proved invaluable as more alien species joined the growing rebellion. The crystalline entities from the Vega system shared their knowledge of energy manipulation. The aquatic collective from the ocean worlds provided advanced life support technology. Even the mysterious machine consciousness from the Galactic Core sent encrypted blueprints for weapons that could disrupt Dominion communications. "Look at this," Park Don said, showing them a tactical display. "The Dominion is having to split their forces to deal with uprisings on 43 different worlds. They are not used to fighting multiple enemies at once, because they always faced opponents one at a time. June realized they'd conquer a world, absorb its population, then move on to the next. They've never dealt with a coordinated multi-species resistance. Hannah's broadcasts became the glue that held the network together. Every day, she reported on victories and defeats, shared tactical innovations, and most importantly, kept hope alive across countless worlds. Today, "I'm speaking to you from the bridge of a human warship," she said during one broadcast that was simultaneously translated into over 300 alien languages. "But I'm also speaking to brave rebels on Kepler 442b who just liberated their moon base, to the underwater cities of Proxima Centauri B where fish-like beings are building submarines that can travel through space, to the crystal forests of Wolf 359 where living rock formations are growing into organic spacecraft." The network grew stronger each day, but it came at a cost. June had sold his companies, his real estate, even his personal art collection to fund the operation. Every credit he had earned over decades of business success now went toward buying weapons, funding safe houses, and supporting rebel movements across the galaxy. "Are you sure about this?" Hannah asked one evening as they reviewed financial reports showing his wealth dropping toward zero. "You're giving up everything you built." "Everything I built was just preparation for this moment," he replied, looking at status reports from their alien allies. "The Andromedans need medical supplies for their wounded. The Centauri rebels are running low on energy cells. The vegan resistance fighters need raw materials for their weapons factories. But your fortune, your companies, your entire life's work." "My life's work was never about making money, Hannah. It was about being ready. When humanity needed me most." He turned to face her, his eyes reflecting the starlight coming through the bridge windows. "Besides, what good is being the richest man on a dead planet?" The communication board lit up with another incoming message, this one from a species they'd never heard of before. The spiral dancers from the outer rim had just destroyed a Dominion supply convoy using modified solar sails and pure determination. "The network is working," Hannah said, watching as more green dots appeared on their galactic map. "They're learning from each other, sharing resources, coordinating attacks. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion is losing ground." But even as the rebellion grew, everyone knew the real test was still coming. The Dominion's main fleet was gathering at the Galactic Core, preparing for a final assault that would either crush the Resistance forever or face defeat at the hands of species they had thought were weak and broken. "Whatever happens next," June said, "the galaxy will never be the same. We've shown everyone that freedom is worth fighting for, and that no empire is too big to fall." The Dominion's final assault began at dawn on Earth. Though in the darkness of space, dawn was just a word that meant the end of everything or the beginning of hope. Their massive fleet emerged from hyperspace like a black storm cloud. Thousands of ships ranged in perfect geometric patterns that stretched across the solar system. "This is it," Park Jun said, standing on the bridge of the Soul's Pride as alarms wailed throughout the human fleet. "Everything we've built, everything we've sacrificed, comes down to the next few hours." Hannah activated her broadcast equipment, knowing this might be her last report. "This is Hannah Kim, broadcasting live from the human flagship as the final battle for Earth begins. What you're about to witness will determine whether freedom survives in this galaxy or dies with us." The enemy fleet was enormous beyond imagination. The mothership at its center dwarfed entire cities, its dark hull bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Smaller vessels swarmed round it like angry insects, each one larger than humanity's biggest battleships. All allied fleets. Report. Status, June commanded, his voice carrying across the quantum communication network they had built. Endorian crystal ships in position. Came the reply from Admiral Zeph. His voice translated through the universal communicator. Our energy weapons are charged and ready. Keltorian shielded vessels standing by. Reported another ally. Our defensive screens are deployed. Vorth and stealth fighters moving into attack position. Added a third voice. The enemy won't see us coming. But even with their alien allies, the combined resistance fleet was outnumbered 10-1. This wasn't going to be a fair fight. It was going to be a desperate last stand. Enemy is moving into attack formation, reported Tactical Officer Park. Men, they're targeting Earth first. They want to destroy our home world and break our spirit. Not today, June said grimly. All ships, protect Earth at all costs. If we fall fighting. The battle erupted across the entire solar system. Human fighters darted between massive enemy vessels like minnows attacking sharks, alien allies. Struck from unexpected angles, their exotic weapons lighting up the darkness with impossible colors. The crystalline entities fired beams of pure starlight that could slice through enemy hulls. The aquatic collective's bioships released swarms of living torpedoes that hunted their targets like predate. Oars, but the Dominion fleet was too strong. One by one, resistant ships began to fall. Hannah watched in horror as the Keltorian flagship exploded in a ball of fire, taking its brave crew with it. Human destroyers fought to the last shell, their crews refusing to surrender even as their ships broke apart around them. We're losing, Parkman reported, her voice tight with desperation. Enemy mothership is breaking through our defensive line. That's when June made a decision that would echo through galactic history. All ships with hyperspace capability, prepare for emergency jump. We're taking the fight directly to their command center. Sir, that's suicide. Chief Engineer Lisu protested from the engine room. Their mothership has defensive shields that could stop a supernova. Then we'll go through them instead of around them. June replied, prepare for point-blank hyperspace. Jump. We're going inside their shields. That's impossible. Lisu said. The gravitational stress would tear us apart. Maybe. But impossible is what humans do best. Hannah gripped her camera as the Soul's Pride began to shake. Round them, the surviving human ships formed up for one final assault. She could see the determination on every face. The knowledge that they were about to attempt something that had never been tried before. This is Hannah Kim reporting what may be humanity's final moment. She broadcast as the ship's engines built up to dangerous levels. Admiral Park June is attempting a hyperspace jump directly into the enemy mothership's interior. If successful, it could end this war. If not, jump in 3, 2, 1, execute. Reality twisted round them, space folded in ways that hurt to look at, and for a moment that lasted forever. They existed in the space between spaces. Then suddenly, they were inside the Dominion mothership, their weapons firing at point-blank range into critical systems. Chaos erupted round them. The enemy's perfect order collapsed as human ships materialized inside their most protected vessel. Dominion crew members, strange beings that looked like a fusion of machine and flesh, scrambled to respond to an attack from within their own ship. All weapons fire at will, June commanded. Target their command center, but the mothership's internal defenses were formidable. Massive energy weapons swiveled to target the human intruders. The Soul's Pride shuddered under direct hits, its armor buckling and systems failing. Hull breach on Deck 7, Lisu reported. We're losing life support. Keep fighting, June shouted back. We only need to hold out long enough to reach their central processor. Through the chaos, Hannah kept broadcasting, her camera capturing the desperate battle inside the alien mothership. She watched June coordinate the attack while dodging enemy fire, his business suit torn and bloody, but his determination unshaken. The Admiral is personally leading the assault, she reported as June grabbed a plasma rifle and joined the boarding party. He's not just commanding from safety. He's fighting alongside his crew. They fought their way through corridors that seemed to shift and change around them, the ship's living walls trying to trap the human intruders, Dominion soldiers, tall beings with multiple arms and glowing eyes. Attacked with weapons that fired pure energy. But the humans had something the aliens couldn't understand. The willingness to sacrifice everything for each other. When young pilot Kim Tai was wounded by enemy fire, Merrick Park High threw herself between him and the next shot, taking the blast. Meant for him. When Engineer Lee Dong's weapon jammed, Gunner Yoon Bin gave him her spare rifle even though it left her defenseless. They're protecting each other, Hannah observed, still filming as the battle raged round her, even in the face of certain death. They're putting others before themselves. Finally, they reached the mothership's central command chamber. It was a vast space filled with organic computers that pulsed with alien light. At its center sat the Dominion's collective consciousness, a being that was part machine, part living tissue, and completely alien to human understanding. So, it spoke with a voice like grinding metal. The chaotic species has come to die in my presence. You have caused much disorder. But order will be restored when you're absorbed into the collective. We're not here to be absorbed, June replied, raising his weapon. We're here to set everyone free. The final confrontation was brief but decisive, as the collective tried to overwhelm their minds with its vast intelligence. The humans fought back with something it couldn't compute: love. June's determination to protect Hannah, the crew's loyalty to each other, the willingness of billions of beings across the galaxy to die for freedom. It was too much for the collective to process. I do not understand, it said as its systems began to fail. Why do you fight for others? Why do you sacrifice for those who cannot benefit you? Because that's what makes us human, June replied, delivering the final shot that destroyed the collective's core processes. The mothership died round them, its lights fading as the collective consciousness that had enslaved countless worlds finally fell silent. Across the solar system, Dominion ships stopped fighting as their command structure collapsed. Many began to flee, but others simply powered down. Their crews finally free to think for themselves. The war is over. Hannah broadcast as rescue ships arrived to evacuate the survivors from the dying mothership. The Dominion has fallen, and freedom is spreading across the galaxy. In the weeks that followed, as liberated worlds celebrated and former enemies became allies, Hannah finally understood what she had been searching for. She had started this journey looking for a story about whether a billionaire could make a journalist happy, but she had found something much more valuable. Standing with June on the observation deck of the rebuilt Soul's Pride, watching as sun rise over their saved world, she realized that true wealth wasn't measured in credits or possessions. It was measured in the courage to stand up for what's right, the wisdom to know when to sacrifice everything, and the love that makes such sacrifice meaningful. You know, she said. Taking his hand, ships from a dozen different worlds flew. In formation round them, I finally have the answer to my original question. Oh, and what's that? A billionaire CEO really can make a woman journalist happy. But not with his money, with his heart. As the stars wheeled overhead, and the galaxy began to heal from centuries of oppression, Hannah knew she had found her greatest story. The tale of how love, courage, and hope could triumph over any darkness. The end.